Greetings, everyone, and welcome to our Power Podcast series. I'm over the moon. I'm tickled pink. I'm just extremely excited about this evening because now I have the opportunity to just sit back and absorb the information from two of the men who have been so instrumental in my development and growth throughout my entire career. And I just got to get out the way and let them share and pour into you the things that they've shared and poured into me over the years. Just in case you don't know, my name is Brother Bedford. I'm the founder of the Masters of Business Network and Mastermind, and that has happened as a result of the tutelage and guidance of my mentor, my dear friend, Dr. George C. Fraser. I would read both of their bios, but I want to instruct you to do something. I want you to share this video. I want you to comment below. I want you to like the pages. But more importantly, instead of me reading the great body of work that both of these men have accomplished thus far with much, much more to give and share, I want you to Google them. I want you to go to lesbrown.com. I want you to go to frasernet.com. And I want you to watch all of the videos, download the bios, and absorb all of the information that they have to share with you. So with that said, without further ado, I want to turn it over to my mentor, my friend, so that he could take us further in today's program, Dr. George C. Fraser.
Thank you, Brother Bedford. My apologies, brothers and sisters. You're not seeing this live. It's no fault of ours. I think Facebook crashed, and it's just extraordinarily difficult. This might be the peak traffic period on Facebook. So trying to get this to you live, we've been trying, but we can't. But nonetheless, we are recording this momentous occasion, and we're pushing it out to you right after we have recorded it. But with me today is not only an icon in the world of motivational speaking, but a longtime close personal friend of mine. And that's no hype, that is real. Les and I go back over 50 years. We were doing things together when Les was a disc jockey on a Columbus radio station. I was selling Black history books, the International Library of Life and History. And I asked Les if he could help me do this. And the brother was just open and friendly and said, listen, I'll do anything I can to help you. And he did. And we started down, this was back in the 60s. And Les was a star in Columbus, Ohio, doing his disc jockeying. He has a wonderful story about that. He'll tell you that story. But Les is an elder. He was born in February 17th, 1945. So he's 2.5 months older than I am. So he has been my mentor for 50 plus years, and he is an elder. So he's going to speak to you today as an elder. Les is known for not only his melodious voice, his incredible, innovative, and imaginative way of putting words together and thoughts together and telling stories. One of the most electrifying speakers in America, regardless of color. He has won all kinds of awards, every award that you can win to be at the top of your game, the top of your subject matter specialty. That is on Les's resume. Les has a Wikipedia page. There are not a whole lot of people that have a Wikipedia page. So check them out on Wikipedia. One of the interesting things to me is how our careers parallel in the in the writing world. Les wrote his first book, Live Your Dreams, in 1994. It was a huge hit. In 1994, I wrote Success Runs in Our Race. In 1998, Les wrote his second book, It's Not Over Till You Win. That was 1998. And in 1998, I wrote Click, 10 Truths for Building Extraordinary Relationships. In 2002, he wrote Up Thoughts for Down Times, also a bestseller. and then he wrote Laws for Success. And then we wrote a book that was in 2017. And then we wrote a book together. It was a compilation, motivational book, Mission Unstoppable, Extraordinary Stories of Failures, Blessings. So our lives paralleled in many ways. And that period between 1991 and 1994, that 5-year period, 4 or 3 very important books came out. Dennis Kimbrough came out in 1991, if you remember, Les, with Think and Grow Rich, a Black choice, sort of a Black take on Napoleon's Hill classic book. You then came out in 1994 with Live Your Dreams. I came out in 1994 with Success Runs in Our Race. So it was a banner year, certainly for us and for our reading public, and then so much history has happened between us. And you were the first speaker for our Success Net program. I don't know if you remember that, in 1987.
Oh, yes, I do.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
1987. We had a program called Success Net, Success Through Networking, where we would bring in a well-known speaker to really attract the crowd. I would do some lessons on the proper way to network, and then the high-profile speaker would, of course, motivate and inspire. And of course, our first one was Les Brown, and he just tore the roof off the sucker. Les has made a fortune doing what he loves and using his gift of imagination, the gift of his voice, the gift of this incredible smile that he has, and this incredible sense of humor that he has. He laughs easily. He's a lovable human being. And it is just an honor, Les, to be with you on this podcast under trying circumstances. I just can't think of a brother that I respect more, love more, have more history with in our professional spheres. And thank you for getting on. Thank you for being a part of this. I know your time is precious. I know you have gone through some things in your own life, but you have weathered that storm. We promised the audience today that we would have you talk about how to speak to the world. I mean, there's no master class, no better teacher on the planet to help us understand how we speak to the world, the art and science of speaking. And one just final remark, I read somewhere that the greatest fear the human has is the fear of speaking. That's the number one fear. The number two fear is the fear of dying. So speaking is more fearful than dying. And then the number three fear is the fear of speaking and dying in front of an audience. Now, we have all had that experience, right? I know I have, right?
Yeah.
But so if I will turn this over to you to help us understand, for all of you, especially if you're in the world of training, if you're in the world of leading, if you're in the world of managing and supervising, not only must you be able to write clearly and succinctly, but you also must be able to verbally and effectively communicate to your audience. And here's the master class from Leslie Calvin Brown.
Thank you, George. I'm going to keep that introduction. I'm going to keep it because it makes me feel so special. I'm so cornbread. And you, and I have always admired your style of communication. And you've always been my hero, and you have mentored me in so many ways, because when it comes to being organized and being meticulous and precise, and your recall, your memory, as you gave that chronology of our relationship, I'm saying, whoa, it took me back in the day. But also what it did was, it helped me to remind myself about the potential that people have. Because at the time that we met, I had no idea what I was going to do, and you had no idea what you were going to do. But we came together, which is very important, and we've always been supportive to each other. And I love this opportunity of sharing with people how they can speak to the world, because at the time that I met you, my goal was to speak at Black History Time for the NAACP and the Urban League. So Mike Williams, who you know has been my mentor for all these years, he said, "Who do you want to speak to?" I said, "Well, I want to speak to in Black History Month." And when I finished telling him, the phone went dead. So I called him back. I said, "Hey," I said, "we lost the signal." He said, "We didn't lose the signal." I said, "What happened?" He said, "I hung up." I said, "Why?" He said, "I don't want to work with somebody who has such a small vision." He said, "I want to work with somebody who wants to speak to the world." Now, what happened was, I didn't think that speaking to the world was available to me because of my mental conditioning, which I was unaware of. And one of the things that's very important is that all of us need a mentor. Somebody who can see something in us that we can't see in ourselves, because literally you can't read the box, the label, when you're locked in the box. And so he expanded my vision of myself. You know, Muhammad Ali said, "I'm the greatest," but he never won a championship without Angelo Dundee in his corner. Michael Jordan considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time, but Phil Jackson was always there when he won those championships. And so when I think about how fortunate I've been with you and with Mike Williams in my life, it began to teach me some things that ordinary people would not have been able to accomplish what I've accomplished. And I'm very proud to say that I didn't do it by myself, that you two guys, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and he's still in my life and you're still in my life, help this average guy, because you know I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. I was labeled educable mentally retarded when I was in the 5th grade. And put back from the 4th grade to the 5th grade. And then I failed again in the 8th grade. And no one would have envisioned when we got together. Here are these two guys. And I remember when they have this technology available to the public now, but I remember you were such a debonair guy and always loved technology. And you said, "Let me show you something." And you went in your apartment and you snapped your hand and the lights came on. I said, "Whoa, what year was that when you did that? What year was that?"
I mean, that was 50 years ago too, right?
That's right. Okay, wow. I said, "Oh man, this dude is bad." You know, like God said, "Let there be light." George said, "Let there be light." Wow. Okay. So I learned some things, and I want to share with everyone. All of us have a story. Stories that we've experienced, and they don't have to be bad stories, and stories that we have witnessed. Case in point is Marianne Williams. But Marianne Williams read a book called Course in Miracles. It touched her, it transformed her life. And she wrote a book about that book, Course in Miracles, called Return to Love. And she went around the world speaking on that story that she wrote that changed her life. And so all of us have something that I believe that we're supposed to share, that we were created by the Creator to create. And so let me give you the point. When I first started just the conversation right now, there are 3 things I want people to write down. Who are you? What do you have? And why should I care? So when I started the conversation right now, I said, you know, when I think about how coming back from where I came from, being labeled educable mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and failing in the 8th grade, that I had no idea that I can do what I have accomplished. And so that people can use a story of all types to begin to, and I want people to write this down, distract, dispute, and inspire. Now you're familiar with this. We've spent one-on-one time talking about this, that the major key to becoming a national and a global transformational speaker is having a story that you become known for. We know about T.D. Jakes' Woman Thou Art Loose, of Juanita Bynum, No More Sheets, of Malcolm X, By Any Means Necessary, Dr. King, I Have a Dream, Adam Clayton Powell, Keep the Faith, Baby, Jesse Jackson, I Am Somebody. And so all of us have some story, and particularly during this time, because we need messengers of hope, that can distract, dispute, and inspire. Now, what do I mean by that? That Mike told me, he said, Brownie, he said, don't restrict yourself. He said, impact drives request and income. Now, as a result of my listening to him and taking his coaching, the average speaker, according to the National Speakers Association, they receive around these 3,000 individuals, around 25 requests a year. I receive over 3,000 a year because of the impact of transforming people's lives. So the key in what I brought to the industry, and I want everybody to write this down, a story about somebody. And so in my particular case, I tell the story about my mother, that she had a third grade education, and I'm here because of two women. One gave me life, the other one gave me love. God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. I feel like Abraham Lincoln, who said, all that I am and all that I hope to be, I owe to my mother. And I want people to write this down, heartfelt, that when I talk about my mother, people feel and experience that because they have a mother. They either have a mother that they love or they don't. But what happens is that when you speak from the heart, words that are spoken from the heart into the heart. When I came into the industry, it was governed by the Dale Carnegie course. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And that's good. However, what Mike taught me, two things. One, advance with your story. Why? The competition, they're giving stories and information about Think and Grow Rich. If information could change people, everybody would be skinny, rich, and happy. When you advance with your story, a story has a human face. We are emotional. And people, they'll see me. That's Mamie Brown's baby boy. I used to end my talk show like that. This has been Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy. The majority of people who watch television are females, and they said, I like that boy, okay? And so you want to create an experience. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that once a man's or woman's mind has been expanded with an idea, concept, or experience, it can never be satisfied to going back to where it was. And so the key is to find this story that touched your heart, this story. And what it happens is that the audience, when you orchestrate this story, you create an experience that expand their vision of themselves, that touch their emotions, and that ignite their spirit. So as a result, they become like a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. And so like when Dexter Yeager, he was a guy that he just passed recently, 50% of the volume of Amway passed through his organization. And Dexter Yeager heard a cassette tape where I was talking about, you gotta be hungry, which is the title of my book. And he loved that story. Now he had a choice between Zig Ziglar, who was tops at that time, Tony Robbins and Robert Schuller, to speak to 80,000 people in the Georgia Dome, and people can see that now on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and so what happened, he selected me, and I asked him, why did you ask me? He said, I wanted someone who could command that audience with his story. And so when he looked at Zig, Zig had a quote that everybody knows. If you give enough people what they want, they will give you what you want. but it wasn't about Zig's personal story of overcoming something. Same thing with Robert Schuller. He tells you to become a possibility thinker. That was his mantra. And Tony said, you know, personal power. But mine was anchored around my mother. And that moved him, that touched him. And he was a very conservative guy. And I didn't know him and he didn't know me until he heard that one cassette tape. And he said, that's the one that I want to select, that speaker to speak in the Georgia Dome before 80,000 people. And the rest is history. I was scared out of my boots. However, I did it. I don't even remember giving the speech. But what happens is this. How people live their lives is a result of the story they believe about themselves. Mm-hmm. So when you speak, or I speak, or the people that are listening, when they're talking to their customers, or they're talking to their clients, or they're negotiating a deal, what we do is interrupt that story, distract, dispute, and inspire. We distract them from their current story. And through the execution, through the power presentation, we dismantle their current belief system and inspire them, as Mother Teresa would say, to become a pencil in the hand of God and start writing a new chapter in their lives. Distract, dispute, and inspire. That's what speaking does. That's what selling is. That's what presenting is. We all have a power voice. And so when you think about speaking and speaking to the world, your languaging style has to be inclusive and universal. And so we don't want to be like Romney, who thought that you could have a story over here and then have a story over there. You have to have one story that is universal and inclusive. So I never have to adjust my message. I give the same approach to the message. And so I'm going to take people through the process. Number one, so ladies and gentlemen, I had a chance to talk to my friend, George Fraser, and we've been knowing each other for a long time. And I want you to write this down, focus. And as I thought about the conversation, George was focusing on what I had overcome and where we were, where we met. And then, but the real reason for this program was he wanted to focus on helping me sell my book. And the book is You Gotta Be Hungry, but also provide value for the clients that are watching at this particular webinar. And so as I thought about it, that all of us, as we look at ourselves and look at our goals, and particularly now, because of the things that we are going through, if we are serious about making it, you have to focus. Keep thine eyes single and thy whole body will be full of light. You have to focus. A friend of mine named Stacy N.C. Grant, she said, focus. She said, action, action, despite the distractions. That the reason that most people don't achieve their goals is because they're not focused. They have not determined what is it that turns them on. That you got to focus on things that's your passion and find ways to monetize that. That you were not born to work for a living, but to live your making. And living your making will make your living. You have to focus. You have to ask yourself, who am I? And what do I want to do with my life? And what's next? Life is a question. And once you answer that question, it determines how you live your life. And so George taught me the value of focusing. And if you're serious about your goals and dreams and want to build an empire around something that you love, it's a calling. A calling is something that you love so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. Focus on that which you love, what's in your heart, because where the heart is, your treasure is also. And so I intertwine a variety of things in there around just focus. The next thing I'll say, you have to have faith. That as you look at your goals and look at your dreams, you've got to believe in yourself. You got to believe in the things that you represent. I had a saying when I was in radio, stand up for what you believe in, because you can fall for anything. That people can tell if you're a fake. You want to be congruent. People say, well, practice what you preach. No, preach what you practice. And what I know about my friend George, This is who he is. This is how he lives his life. I'll never forget going into his house, and when you go into the closet, he's the only person in the universe where he has his winter clothes here, and he has his, I mean, I'm not making this up. He has his spring clothes here, and he's got his summer clothes here. Who does that? George Fraser. And so the audience is going to laugh, and I'm being very honest, and it tickled me. I tell you, when and his garage, you could eat off the floor. He's very meticulous, and his whole environment. And I felt, after I left your house, I felt like I needed some mental health. I need some mental health training, because I'm so disorganized. They say your environment is a reflection of your state of mind. I say, I know George is a genius, but something wrong with me. Now, by being self-deprecating and transparent like that, people identify with you, because there are only a few George Frasers. You're a 1%er. Everybody don't think like that and do it like that. And so the thing is, and I want them to write this down, be observant. The best speakers are the best observers and the best listeners. And something else that you and I were talking about off mic. The best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. And so when you look at focus, faith, and follow through, faith without works is dead. Once you determine and zero in on what it is you want, and you believe that you deserve it, you have now developed the courage and the faith to go for it. Now it's about executing. It's about going after it. And here's what I want to warn you. You will fail your way to success. That 9 out of 10 millionaires went bankrupt. You will fail your way to success. Og Mandino said, you must operate out of the thinking, I will persist until I succeed. You're going to face some tough times. Oh, talk to me, James Weldon Johnson. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chesting rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet, with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place on which our fathers sighed. We've come over a way that with tears have been watered. We've come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. And so, as you look at yourself and look at your goals, you're going to have failures. You're going to have setbacks, just like what we're going through right now. Millions of people have lost their jobs. Millions of people have lost their businesses. But Willie Jolly, our good friend, who wrote a book called A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, and he recently recorded a song called We Will Get Through This. We will get through this. This has not come to stay. It has come to pass. We will get through this. At the same time, there are people that are becoming millionaires. We will get through this. There are people who are hunkering down, and there are people who are looking for strategies on how they can go up. We will get through this. Elsie Robinson had a point. Things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. We will get through this. It brings me to another point. T.D. Jakes said something. He has a term I love called study full. That to become a global speaker, you want to study full. You want to be able to have the flexibility and versatility to speak to a variety of audiences. And so during this time where we are right now, I'm reading a variety of things. Why? I was at a major convention in Fort Lauderdale, and I was there to speak. And Mike taught me, he said, always ask key questions. And so when you think about the speaking industry is governed by, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. Mike said, Brownie, never let what you want to say get in the way of what the audience wants to hear. So here I am at this convention. I'd already spoken, but I decided to stay there and to watch the launching of a new product that they were going to launch the next day. And so it was a product that they were going to launch, a promotion to teach doctors how to communicate with their patients to increase their taking of their hypertension medication. Otherwise, they will have a heart attack. And they called it, this campaign, the danger zone. So I asked the CEO, I said, do you take hypertension medication? He said, yes, I do. I said, why? And he said, because I want to live. I asked, then why do you call it danger zone? Why don't you call it the safe zone? You have a campaign based upon fear. He said, you're right. He said, can you train doctors? I said, yes. Focus, faith. I was focusing on what they were doing, what they wanted, and I had the faith in my ability to execute. I asked that question. He said, can you train doctors? I said, absolutely. They paid me $640,000 1 month to go to 35 cities, including Switzerland, Monday through Thursday, to give a 45-minute presentation to talk to doctors and how to begin to have their patients create the mindset that they want to live. And they changed it to the safe zone, the zone that will help them to live longer, that it appealed to their desire to want to live just because of the question and because of my listening. And so the key that has been very helpful to me, one, using stories to touch the heart. Two, never let what I want to say get in the way of what the customer wants to hear. Three, asking strategic questions and custom designing my presentation to meet and exceed their level of expectation. And so I'm reading all the time. I'm 75 years old, and I believe that you're never too old to learn and you're never too young to teach. And there are people that I've worked with, people that I've trained who are now teaching me things that I'm just excited about learning. And during this time, one of the ability to tell your story, the ability to develop your presentation power, it makes your life recession proof, because recessions restores resourcefulness. So because you're a great communicator, that's the reason that you're still here. And many corporations like Eastern Airlines, they're gone. Because of communication, there are people who, even though they have lost materially their business or their job, but their ability to present themselves, they will always be able to find a place for them. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And so it's so very important that if you want to speak to the world, having a mindset that I want to be a messenger of hope, and that's what I embrace. Mm-hmm. There's a universal desire for people who want to achieve self-actualization, as Maslow talked about. And so when you speak with a mindset, I want to speak to the world. I want to give people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. And these are just some of the strategies that I've learned that have allowed me to earn millions of dollars traveling around the world. Somebody else paid for you flying first class, staying in a 5-star hotel. I just came from Dubai, and man, there is a hotel there, the tallest hotel in the world, and they have a room, $23,000 a night. And let me tell you something, when they took homie up in there, let me tell you something. It's breathtaking of what the ability to communicate, to invest in yourself. Warren Buffett was asked, what's the most important investment you can make? And here's a guy who he has billions of dollars in real estate, billions of dollars in the stock market. And he said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. And that's what you have done. And that's what I have done. We have invested in books and seminars and learning everything. Right. I see it. Yes. Right.
Yes. Your whole library is in there.
Yes.
Including right. Your cassette tapes.
Right. Yes. And so that's key. And I remember listening to Brian Tracy, and he said the average American reads one book a year. But if you read one book a month, if you make that commitment, when in 5 years, when the average American would have read 5 books, you would have read 60 books. That will make you an expert. So the reason that I earn now $70,000 in an hour, when I was working for the Miami Sanitation Department, I was working and earning just over $40 a year, $40,000 a year, all right? Now earning $70,000 an hour. And when I speak internationally, like when I go to Dubai or the UK, they pay $225,000 an hour. They don't pay you by the hour. They pay you for the value you bring to the hour. You are an elder, you have wisdom. And when people hear you speak, they know that there are things that you have taken the time to absorb, to take in, so that you can synthesize that and deliver it to people in a way that they can hear it. Einstein said that genius is the capacity to make the complicated simple. And that's what you do. And that's why your network is still moving and growing, and people's lives, thousands of people's lives have been transformed, and many of those people have impacted my life. And while we're still standing, because we have the ability to present ourselves, we have presentation power, and we can speak to the world with that which we have. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Amen. Let me ask you a couple of questions. If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, Les, what do you think it would be?
Me?
If you were to die and come back as a person or a thing, what would you like to come back as?
Me. It's great to be me. It is absolutely fabulous to be me. You know the song that I love now, it's a gospel song, and the song is, Lord, if you don't do anything else for me, you've done enough. George, I'm a 27-year prostate cancer conqueror. George, none of my kids are on drugs or incarcerated. I had a son that was at death's door. He's great now. His health has been restored. I have a son that was struggling with bipolar. He's with me. And he's living a normal life and will be taking over the family business. And I'm still here at 75. I'm here because of his grace and mercy. I mean, how many people, if you go online, how many people you see speaking to 80,000 people? How many people you know earning $70,000 in an hour? There are a lot of people that don't earn that working for a whole month. And so how many people you know that laugh as much as I do? You know why people love me? Because I laugh so much? Because I'm happy.
Right, yeah. Let me ask you another question. Let me ask you another question, because you cheated on that answer. You're not supposed to come back as you. You couldn't come back as you. You have to come back as something else or something. But anyway, that was a nice answer. And you.
Thank you very kindly.
More information. Let me ask you, what is your most treasured possession?
The most precious possession I have,
treasured, is my mind. My mind. Because if I was not in my right mind, I could not have done what I've done. And what I mean by my mind is the mind that goes beyond the mind that had been conditioned
case in point, there's a movie called The Truman Story.
Yeah.
And do you remember that? And so this guy's life was real, but everything else around him was orchestrated. And they ask a key question: will he escape? Will he leave? And the person who set that up, I don't remember his name, he said no. And they asked, why not? And he said, most people accept the life that they have been given. And so when I think about my life, I came along in time when they read, you got to be hungry, the greatness within to win. I came up in an environment that was designed to destroy my sense of self. I was on a bus with my mother and I saw signs that said, Jews, dogs, and coloreds not allowed. I remember one time running to a water fountain. It was like 90 degrees downtown Miami. My mother did not leave me at home with the neighbors. They would keep my brothers and sisters, but they said I was too much problem. And my mother grabbed me when I ran to this water fountain to drink some water. I was 5 years old. And she said, don't you ever, with a crazed look in her eyes, and begin to beat the hell out of me. And I was screaming, Mama, please, no, Mama, it's me, it's me. And then a white policeman came along and he had a billy club in his hand and he kept hitting in his hand. And he came over and he looked at her. He said, okay, you can stop beating that little nigger boy now. I won't have to beat him. And he walked away laughing. And my mother, she started crying. She broke down and she said, Leslie, I'm so sorry. I said, Mama, why did you beat me like that? That water fountain was for whites only, son. And I saw that policeman, he was looking at you and he was coming towards you. And if he had hit you with that billy club, he would have had to kill me. And I would have had to leave you and your brothers and sisters by yourself. Martin Seligman, in his book, Learned Optimism, he said, between the ages of 0 and 5, we determine what's available to us and what's not available. Between 0 and 5, there's a word that says yes or it says no. Between 0 and 5, the things we see, the experiences we have, the conversations we hear determines to us what's available to us and what's not available to us. And at that moment, to think that my mother, who loved me, beat me to distract somebody from hitting me. I'm a 5-year-old kid. There was something in me that stirred up a hunger for a life beyond this, a hunger not to settle to live within the parameters of what this world said that I should live, that did not recognize our humanity. No, I said no, and it stirred something in me. You knew me in Columbus, you know I was a community activist. That moment, from that time to when you met me, that was always in me. And it has driven me, the desire to take care of my mother, the desire to help people get beyond the confines of their mind. Be ye not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Dr. Howard Thurman, he talked about the fact that we must always have what we call centering moments that we go within to expand our vision of what's available to us in life. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said, if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status, for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. So my most treasured asset is my mind. I'm constantly working on it. You know, Robert Schuller wrote a book called Peak to Peak, P-E-A-K to P-E-E-K, that that we have so much more in us. That in the play Lion King, Simba, you're more than that which you have become. And to let people know you have something special, you have greatness in you. We are here to do the greater work. You are more than that which you have become. And I know it's my mind.
And I'm sorry, I should have said this. The answer, because it was a bunch of questions, the answer was to be limited to 30 seconds. And
I'm sorry.
limited 30 seconds. But this will make a nice clip when we chop this up into pieces and push it out into the world. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple more questions. You're going to limit it to 15 seconds. What is the quality that you most like in a man, woman, or friend? What is the quality that you most like in a man, woman, or friend?
Loyalty.
Loyalty. What do you most value in your friends?
Integrity.
Who are your heroes or sheroes in real life?
Mike Williams, you, my children. I've learned so much from them. They've loved me in spite of myself.
Mm-hmm. And the final question is, what is your favorite curse word?
I really don't have one because I teach young people profanity is the strongest expression of a weak mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Just in sober conversation, if I got upset, I don't have one.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I very rarely have heard you curse.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do on occasion to punctuate a thought or to punctuate a word.
I feel so uncomfortable in my body if I use profanity.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
because I treasure words. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. So I teach we must be mindful of the words that we speak.
Tell us, you got 2 minutes, and I hope you have a copy to show on the camera. Tell us about "You Gotta Be Hungry," which is one of your all-time favorite quotes used by thousands of people. You have a copy of the book?
Yeah, no, because it will be backwards if I put it up on the screen. So that's why I don't have it in here. But
well, then show it backwards. If you show it backwards, it'll be front. It'll be right. But I'm
right. Okay. It took 21 years to birth this book and took a lot of help and support. And I realized it was written for such a time as this. It's a book that will help people get through tough times. It's a book that will help you realize that your circumstances don't define you. It's a book that will pique your level of awareness to know that you can do more than what you have done, that you don't know enough about yourself to be a cynic. It will spark, it will ignite a hunger in you to manifest a life that you were chosen out of 400 million sperm to do, to live, to experience. And it will show them the process, the blueprint of how to live a life that will outlive you.
Yeah. Les, in your earlier talk, you went through a lot of powerful quotes. You are a quote master yourself, but I learned something from my editor, Paul Bresnick, when I was writing Success Runs in Our Race. And I wrote about 100,000 words. And he was at HarperCollins, where they were your publishers as well. We had the same publisher at the same time. And after he read my manuscript, he said, you know, this is very good. This is a lot of material in here. And he says, but I just want to give you a warning. He said, this is maybe too much you, because when you write something, or even when you speak something, and you do this masterfully, Les, what people are listening for is who said so other than you. Who said so other than you?
Yes.
They may have said it differently, but
Yes.
they said essentially the same thing. So
Yes.
you are masterful at quoting others, and then, of course, writing and creating your own quotes. You got to be hungry. There, you know, there's a whole book right there in 4 words, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it says so much with so little. Is there some favorite quotes? Either you created them or someone else said them that you absolutely uh, love, live by, remember. They make you smile. They challenge you. They provide you inspiration or aspiration. You already went through a bunch of them, but are there others
Oh,
that you
I'm going to
want
tell you
to?
why You've Got to Be Hungry is my favorite. Because of living in Miami, I was exposed to people coming on little rickety boats from Haiti and from Cuba, and they couldn't speak the language, but they hit the ground running. And studies indicate that immigrants have a 3 to 4 times greater chance of becoming a homeowner or a business owner than the average American. Why? Because they're hungry. We have developed a entertainment-driven culture, a stress-relieving culture. We have developed a culture of spectators, of fans. But when you outswim an alligator or a shark to get here, and you're able to hit dry land, you're not coming here to sit on the couch and watch television.
No, that's right.
I never forget, a friend of mine's son, he came and he wanted my business to cut my grass, and I granted him that. And so he told me he was going on vacation, he'll be gone for a while. And so this immigrant came by and asked, could he cut my grass in the meantime? And I said, yes. I said, just for 2 weeks, because the guy who does my lawn, he's out of town now. And so when I went back in my house and heard him cutting the grass, and he stopped, and I looked out the window, he's cleaning my swimming pool. So I came out and said, no, I don't need you to clean my swimming pool, just cut the grass. He said, no, I'm through cutting the grass. He said, but your pool need cleaning, and I'll take care of it, and I'm not going to charge anything. Wow. Guess what? When my friend's son got back, he was out of a job. He lost a business. This guy, people that are hungry provide more service than they get paid for. People that are hungry are relentless and unstoppable. People that are hungry know that you will fail your way to success. They hold themselves to a higher standard. Like Henry David Thoreau said, do not go where the path may lead. Go where there's no path and leave a trail. You are hungry. You have built a movement of networking and going around the globe from scratch, from nothing. You have this vision that refuse to be denied, that this will be your legacy. People that are hungry are legacy builders. They live a life that will outlive them. And if they get taken out, so be it. Malcolm X, Dr. Martin Luther King. It's something that, as much as they've chosen it, they were chosen for that.
Mm-hmm.
They can't resist it. It's a magnificent obsession.
Yeah. Wow. My favorite quote, really in many ways was inspired by what you've been teaching for all the years that I've been knowing you. And it simply goes, that everything you want in life is on the other side of hard,
Yes.
right? It's on the other
Yes, if
side of
you do what is easy, your life will be hard. But if you
That's
do
right.
what is hard, your
Yeah,
life will be easy.
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And brothers and sisters, you have heard quintessential Leslie Calvin Brown. Right? Where can people get your book?
They get it on Amazon. All they have to put in their search, "You've got to be hungry."
Is that
And
right?
all,
Right.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
Amazon. So, brothers and sisters, let's make this minimally an Amazon bestseller. When you see this, and we will be pushing it out shortly, please go to Amazon and get a copy of a book that took 25 years to write. He's been saying this for 25 years. We have all stolen that phrase. So at
Yes.
least make some repayment for stealing the phrase and using it to inspire yourself. Go to Amazon and pick up a copy as soon as you finish watching this podcast. Again, quintessential Les Brown. Look at that smile. Look at that face. Here's a guy who's been fighting prostate cancer for
27 years.
27 years, right? And still, you still have it, my brother. We still love
I still got it. Fourth
you.
stage
Still got it,
cancer.
man.
Kicking cancer's
You
butt.
still got it after all these years. And I just want to give you a little piece of advice. I want you to work on for the rest of your life on being the person that your dog thinks you are. Okay.
Thank you.
Your
I love it. Oh
dog
boy.
love them, love us regardless. We could kick them and then we can jump into the garage for 5 minutes, come back in the door, and they will
Right.
walk and love us. So it has been a joy.
Yeah.
Really is a joy. It's always a joy being with you, talking because we share so much history, and your heart is always in the moment. It's always in the moment, right?
Yes.
uh, to call up the emotions necessary to express how you feel, and the transparency that you communicate is truly a bond that you have with your audiences, because you awoke, you're conscious, you keep it 100, you make it plain, and that's really what we love about you, right?
But
Right. And then you say something profound, and then you go into a belly laugh. Right? What a juxtaposition of emotions, right? So, but that's
yes.
what we love about you, and that's what we've come to expect of you. And it is, again, an honor to spend this hour with you. I want to remind those of you who are watching the Power Networking Conference, yes, is still on July 8th through the 11th in Houston, Texas. God is in charge. We believe that God will do the right thing. And whatever the right thing is, even if God tells us we have to move it further up and to make sure that there's enough time that everybody feels safe to move around again, we'll do that, and you'll be the first to know. If you've been on the last two podcasts, you know that we make 10 registrations available for each podcast. There's 30 of these, and Les is the third. Boyce Watkins will be joining us on Thursday, right, Brother Bedford? Uh,
That
Boyce
is
Watkins,
correct. That is
right.
correct.
And then on Saturday, Anthony Browder, the great Anthony Browder, uh, uh, the Black world's and maybe the world's greatest Egyptologist. We love them. So those are the two that you have to look forward to seeing this week. We've got a Power Pack week. We started with Les and got two incredible brothers following us. But each of the podcasts, we make available 10 Power Networking Conference registrations at a very special price. We limit it to 10. The conference is going to sell out, so we have to limit it to only 10. It's a very special offer, and we want you to be privy to it and have a chance to be one of those 10. If you were one of the ones that was over the 10 and we had to say we had reached the limit, we couldn't extend you the offer, you can try again tonight. So the offer is very simple. As you know, a full registration to the Power Networking Conference is $1,500. So if you met someone that could change the trajectory of your life, would that be worth $1,500? Hell to the yes, it would be. So $1,500. That's the value of a full adult registration. We encourage you to bring a young person with you to the conference, 17 to 25, college age, let's call it that, because our young people should be sitting at the feet of masters. So that registration, or what we call a student registration, is $800. So you add those two together, that's $2,300, right? So for 10 people who are smart enough to watch this video and to be with us and on this podcast series for this particular evening with Les Brown, we want to offer you that $2,300 package for $399. $399. That's a $1,900 discount, only for 10 people. So if you want to take advantage of that opportunity, you must email me. You cannot go on powernetworkingconference.com site and see that offer. It will not be on there. You must email me at gfraser@frasernet.com. That's gfraser@frasernet.com, Fraser. Say I'm in, put your cell number in there and your phone number in there, and I will call you back personally. Right? I don't normally do that, but I'm locked in the house and I need to talk to somebody, right? Really, right? And I can't go anywhere. And 28 of my speeches have been postponed, and I can't get on an airplane, and I can't go to a restaurant, and I can't go to a bar, and I can't go out to dinner. Right? So the only person I'm able to talk to is my friend Les Brown and brother Bedford. I need people to talk to. So gfraser@frasernet.com, $399. I'm in. If you want to ask me a question or two, I can do a little sort of instant mentoring. But I want to hear your voice, because I love you, like Les Brown has loved us, like Brother Bedford, who is our co-host, and he's been relatively and unusually quiet tonight, but I think he is in reverence of the masterclass that we all got from Les Brown. And so it's been a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful hour we've spent with this brother. Again, we apologize that you did not see it live. We could not get on Facebook Live. I don't know if Facebook planned for this and planned for the kind of bandwidth they would need at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night, but we couldn't get on, but we recorded it anyway, and we're going to push it out to you. Share it with everybody that you know. There are life lessons in here. This is a master class that you did not have to pay from a master. So Brother Bedford, if there's some closing thoughts that you want to say, God bless you and thank you. And by the way, thank the 40 people that helped put on this all-star podcast series. I'm deeply appreciative. And Brother Bedford, thank you for co-hosting. If you want to close us out, please do.
Well, George, I mean, as you mentioned, I'm just sitting here absorbing everything that Les has given us tonight. You're right, it was a phenomenal master class. And so I've taken notes. I've also had to monitor, since we weren't on live, I've literally had to exchange text messages with hundreds of people who are anxious for this call. There's a group that was out of Houston, said they had a contingent of about 150 people that were watching tonight from Houston who wanted to be on. So what I did, I texted her back And I told her that we're going to upload the video, but then I also told her that if we're going to try to do something special to serve them. So I don't know, maybe Les, we could get back on and just do a Q&A session after they view this video. So
It'd be my pleasure.
Yeah,
Yes.
so because I know so many people wanted to engage with you live. And so what we'll do is we'll upload the video, make sure everyone sees it, but then we'll try to set up something where you and Dr. Fraser can do some Q&A with all of the thousands of people who wanted to see your face live.
Excellent. I'm available to you. I'm here for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
God bless you. Leslie Calvin Brown, stay healthy, and we're going to get you back. We appreciate you and we love you. Thank you.
Thank you. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Take care, Les.
You too. Take care. God bless.